joint meeting, and we're trying to get on a quarterly schedule. I think we're kind of doing okay for a while. So let me introduce the day. Oh, and I think the president of CPS, Eve Bolton, will be here a little later. I think she had another meeting before this.
Yes, we got a silk trick on it.
Okay. So, so first of all, welcome everybody. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. The members, several members of our Healthy Neighborhoods Committee are out of town, are not available tonight, but I'm so happy that we have Council Member Scotty Johnson here, who's a member of the committee. We also have Council Member Evan Nolan. Thank you for joining. Evan's not on the committee, though we're trying to get him on it, but we're really glad he's here, so thank you so much. And I'm Vice Mayor Jan Michelle Lemon-Kearney, the chairman of this committee. I would like for Kareem Moffitt, for our CPS board, to introduce her board members.
Absolutely. So we have one of our newest appointed board members, Mr. Jim Crossett. We have Brandon Craig, who is the chair of our budget committee. We have Ms. Kendra Mapp, who is another one of our newest board members. And then we've also got our administration interim superintendent, John Murphy. And I do know that we've got two more board members that are scheduled to come, Mary Weinberg and then President Bolton. And myself, Dr. Moffitt.
All right, your president and vice president are on the way, so that's fantastic. For our administration, we have John Vogt from our legal department, Lisa Carrion, and Jill Boshin. I said it right this time. Rhymes with motion. Okay. Boshin from our Clerk of Council office. We have City Cable is here, so thank you, Steve Sobel and his crew. And I see the CPS Vice President, Mary Weinberg, is now here. So, as you know, in City Council chambers, we start with public comment. And so we'll just do that first. When I call your name, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes. And let's start with Ms. Tracy Everett. Oh, okay, Ms. Everett, you can still come and sit down, but Dr. Moffitt wanted to mention.
I just want to mention our board admin, Ms. Phyllis Davis, is here as well. She's our glue, so I gotta mention her.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Everett, you're the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes.
I just really want to say, I've been around a lot of teachers, special ed teachers. They really underpaid. They take their job home with them. They really love the kids that they work with. It do start at home. I do not want the city policing my child. The school can only do so much. It is up to the parents to do more at home. All that community connect, I understand y'all trying, but a lot of kids can't even read. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to get a little bit more for real about these kids in poverty areas. It's not cute, it's not funny. I don't care how much money y'all get. If a kid can't even read or understand what they signing, what they doing, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing this for? Just do a little bit better on every level. Everybody can work as a team. I don't want to come down here. I don't even like coming down here. Because guess what? I like to be behind the scene and work.
Okay.
All this playing stuff, soon as somebody say something, yeah, I get rid of them. But it's a lot of people that's trying to do the right thing. Stop looking for fake solutions. Find a real solution and move forward. Because I want my kids to be better than me. I'm not trying to be the same as my child, my mother, or none of that. Higher education is always going to be the power. So this low vibrational, y'all moving, far as the Black community, it's very saddens me and it's disappointed. And I wish y'all get it together. Because I really love Cincinnati, and Cincinnati really just, it don't even feel right to just be from here. Like, I gotta see kids all the time, just doing too much. This needs to stop.
Ms. Everett, thank you for your comments. We appreciate that. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Stanford Poole. And Mr. Poole, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes.
Well,
Oh, and Mr.
African-American
Poole, please speak into the
firefighters
mic. There you
can
go.
take my time in front of me, and I can go behind them.
Okay, all right, we can do that. All right, so next we do have the president of the Cincinnati African American Firefighters Association, Mr. William West. Thank you so much.
Once again, I stand before you. My name is obviously William West, president of the Cincinnati African American Firefighters Association, and we are authors of the Public Safety Academy, AKA the PSA. And we as what we were named as stakeholders to basically be reported to over a year and a half ago as far as the progress and updates of the Public Safety Academy, that a steering committee was comprised by the city and CPS to start the progress of the development of this program. But that has yet to evolve at all. We haven't received any updates, which is what raised our concern. We were told publicly that the Public Safety Academy would actually be launched at the beginning of this school year, last August, and that did not happen. We're tired of the broken promises. We're tired of basically sitting in the passenger seat. We want to be a part of driving the force of the development of the program in whatever shape and form to ensure that we actually add something for you all to have to combat this youth violence that goes on in the city. What better way to encourage a young person to do the right thing and not give in to peer pressure from their peers if they are aspiring to be a police officer or a firefighter? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and you know that we're going to discuss more of that. That's item D today, so thank you so much for your comment. Mr. Poole, would you like to speak now? So, Mr. Poole, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes. It doesn't look like your light is on. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I worked for the city as a firefighter for 28 years, and I come in here to try to do the right thing, to take care of people. 6 years ago, the taxpayer, the black firefighter in the Sentinels, put this on the voting trail, and the citizen voted yes for it. And you haven't put no money in it or nothing. Now, I know you really don't care about the inner city kids and that. You got outside kids that get being plumbers and electricians, go half of the school and that. I went to Cutter, where they had wood and metal and that. They encouraged me to do more and have my own business and that. But here, the elected people, the last council and this council haven't did anything. Now, the Board of Education, if they don't do their part, you're supposed to do yours, because the taxpayers passed it. Now, when that railroad comes through, you immediately passed it and gave it to the investors. But when it comes to black and brown people, you fall short. If I had to give you a report, the last council and this one, I will give you an F minus. Now, we're tired of this waiting. Why people got to be in the mud? Now, the only thing you're doing is putting a muddy boot on the people of color in this city. We're tired of this. We're tired of slavery, redlining, and everything else. And we got 4 or 5 people of color, and then got all these Democrats acting like Republicans. So stop. We're tired of it. We ain't gonna wait for a crumb or two. Respect them firefighters. They put their life on the line. You say you respect them, but you don't want to do nothing for them. They put their line on it. So when they die, you ain't got nothing for them. So take care of our kids, and the firefighters need to be in that program. We ain't no second-rate people.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Poole. The next speaker is Stefan Pryor. Mr. Pryor, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes. I'm not sure that that's on. Is that on? Try and see if the mic is on, Mr. Pryor, please. There you go.
Test 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? All right. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm new to this, but I catch on quickly. Crossing guard. Y'all got to keep that, city. Y'all got to start going in half on being crossing guards. The police need to do that, continue being crossing guards for the students. It's in the city. It's the city property too, so why not have the crossing guards get paid good money, put them on salary. School, redistricting the schools. Man, y'all putting all the black kids in one group or something? What's going on? I'm gonna learn it today though, but they told me about redistricting the kids in different schools. It's like it's all the black schools over here and all the white schools over here. That's segregation. We can't have that. We can't have that if they're trying to do that. That's not cool. We're not putting that on the radar at all. Redistricting the schools. They did that in the what was that? Issue 1. No on issue 1. That passed. So we got to make sure this passed too, not to do this. Go back to the drawing boards, Mr. Scotty Johnson, and think it over. You know, because it's a good thing that we all come together and help each other. Miss Mary, I see you over there turning your lip all up. You got to stop that. I saw that over there. I saw that. But anyway, I'm going to learn this, what y'all doing about redistricting the schools. I'm going to learn it, see what's going on. The crossing guards, y'all got to keep that going. Y'all got some of that tax abatement. Y'all gave it out to the CPS. I remember that, 99. I was there. I was here. 99 tax abatement. And Eve, girl, when is you retiring, girl? You've been in the game too long. Too long, girl. But anyway, I love y'all guys, and y'all can't do nothing about it. All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pryor. Our next speaker is Tony Watson. Ms. Watson, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes.
Hi, I am Tony Watson. I'm a 21-year veteran with the Cincinnati Police Department, and I'm also a member of the Sentinel Police Association.
Wonderful.
I am here to stress the importance of this public safety academy in our schools. I'm also a Cincinnati Public School graduate. I think this would be a wonderful opportunity to increase diversity, maintain diversity of minorities and women within the police and the fire department. 21 years ago, when I came on, there were 16 blacks and females that was in my academy class, 3,500 applicants, and only 16 of us applied. So what I am seeing is we're going backwards. We're definitely going backwards, and we need minorities and women to police our streets, to provide public assistance and service to our community. So keep this, we definitely need to keep this on the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we will talk a little bit about the Public Safety Academy today. Thank you for that. Our next speaker is Brandy Tidwell. And Ms. Tidwell, hi, you have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes.
Yes, greetings, everyone. My name is Brandy Tidwell. I'm a resident of Evanston Academy. I've been there almost 17 years.
And Ms. Tidwell, speak a little closer to the mic, please. Thank you.
I've been there almost 17 years. I am the community. I am the parent that's involved. I chose being a parent because that's what the Most High chose me to do. I do not work. Working is my job for the children. I'm here on behalf of the children. Y'all don't want to hear the word repatriation, but I'm gonna take you there. I am here, and the money's allotted for my birthright will be given to I once everything is underway. And that's to give back to my babies. My babies need to know their roots. That's the problem. My babies need to be loved. That's the second problem. They don't want to go to the rec center, half of them. So we need to find where they need to go. And I have solutions for these, because the Most High sent me to tell you about them. But until then, I want my money. For me to implement this project that I have to involve my children in, will get them skills, jobs, nourishment, respect, because that's what they lost with us. But I'm the last of my royal Mohican blood, from here, from Cincinnati, and I'm going to take my stand for mine.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tidwell. We appreciate you. Okay, our last speaker, unless there's anyone on Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom? No? Okay. Our last speaker is Ronnell Ellison, president of Brothers, Inc. Okay, Ms. Pearson, are you speaking? Ms. Pearson, are you going to speak? Okay. All right, thanks. Okay.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm here to support my brothers at the African American Firefighters Association, being a proud father of a young firefighter who will start in January
Oh, wow.
with Cincinnati.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
I really think it's an important issue, and it would definitely help being in the Cincinnati public schools. We have to give these children safe and productive alternatives to guns and violence, period. I mean, it's just, it has to happen. We're going to, they called upon Brothers Inc. to help push this initiative, and we're going to be side by side with them to do that. And I'm going to make this real simple, and Brothers Inc. is here to help whenever, wherever we can, whether it's transit stations, Cincinnati public schools, wherever. We're only a phone call away. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Pearson, would you like to come speak now, please? And you're the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Rashida Pearson. I'm here tonight as a parent, grandparent, and student, former student of Cincinnati Public. I'm also a youth advocate. I'm here today to ask that you all reconsider how you lay out this plan. I understand it might be necessary to move the schools around, but 1 year is going to do more damage to our youth. If we really pay attention to the behaviors of our youth in the community, it really aligns with how we structured the Metro buses. So this really is a systems issue that we have created for the youth. So if you implement this new growth plan within 1 year, we're going to do more of a detriment to our youth. We're just going to put more trauma on them. And I just want to elevate that. Please consider the kids first, kids and families, when you consider rolling out this new plan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Pearson. We appreciate that. I also wanted to point out that the president of the CPS board, Eve Bolton, has joined us. And out in the audience, we have the assistant superintendent, Dr. Alicia Smith. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Okay, I have the wrong deputy superintendent. Thank you, Dr. Moffitt. Okay. All right, so that concludes public comment. Let's get on to our agenda. First, we're going to talk about youth employment opportunities. And our first two speakers are from the city of Cincinnati. They'll talk about the Career Pathways Initiative. So Kelly Carr, our Deputy Director of Human Resources, and Jude Johnson, our CPI Manager.
Well, good evening, Vice Mayor, members of council, and esteemed members of the school board. My name is Kelly Carr. I represent the City of Cincinnati Department of Human Resources and our Career Pathways Initiative. Career Pathways was announced in August of 22 by Mayor Piraval and at the time Assistant City Manager Cheryl Long. It then was transferred over to the Department of Human Resources in the spring of 2023. The Career Pathways program is aimed at augmenting economic opportunities for young people ages 14 to 24 in the greater Cincinnati area by helping youth shape their future with the City of Cincinnati. Our aim is to attract and retain young talent and be an employer of choice for this region. The CPI team, which includes myself, Jude Johnson, sitting to my right, Jonathan Brown, and Ashley Thomas, have achieved some significant milestones in 2024. Such as supporting the successful recruitment of enough lifeguards to open all 24 pools in 2024, thanks to Jude Johnson's tagline, 24. and 24. No.
20 and 24, thank you.
It's been for the first time since 2019, with an increase from 19 pools in 2023. We also created a new Cincinnati Police Young Adult Understudy program, which closes the gap between those aged 18 to 21. So we're able to retain youth in service to police while they wait to be of eligible age to be a police recruit. Along with complementing the City of Cincinnati's Community Development Block Grant Youth Employment Program, we also manage our third-party youth employment contracts. We support the Cincinnati Police and Cincinnati Fire Academic Year Cadet Program, Lifeguard Academy, and department-wide co-op positions, which support 376 youth employees, 340 of whom successfully completed social emotional learning and financial literacy training this summer. All of this would not be possible without CPI's extensive outreach efforts, led by Jude Johnson here to my right, which in 2024 included the facilitation of over a dozen overviews of the city experiences, whereby various groups, including Grad Cincinnati, Cincinnati Children's Hospital Fellows Program, along with other area universities and vocational schools, have visited the City of Cincinnati City Hall, right here specifically, to hear from our city officials and explore civil service career pathways. In 2024, Jude and his team visited 57 schools we have great confidence that we will visit all Cincinnati public schools before the end of winter break, with the effort of promoting not only the Lifeguard Academy for CRC, Cincinnati Police and Fire Cadet Program, but the many youth employment opportunities that the city now has to offer. They visited 18 colleges, went to 23 community events and job fairs, and with those events, successfully reached an audience of over 30,000 individuals through these various events and partnerships. Coming up in calendar 2025, we plan to continue robust recruitment efforts and continue targeting graduating seniors and vocational school graduates for city full-time entry-level employment. For example, since the summer of '24, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks supported their own youth employment cohort. This was out of their own budget. So it was not community development and it was not CPI's budget. This enabled us to free up those funds to create a new fleet co-op program, a new fleet training program, enabling vocational students from Butler Tech and Job Corps, et cetera, to serve with the city until they're eligible for a full-time position. Finally, in 2025, we plan to wrap up the last year of many of our third-party youth employment contracts. This includes groundworks and artworks, et cetera. We have additional Youth at the Center and Catalyst training, but those will be extended for another round. These contracts obligate over half of our budget, so $580,000 to be exact. In fiscal '26, if council decides to maintain support for CPI, we will need to determine if we continue funding these third-party employers through CPI resources and release an RFP to refer new third-party employers for consideration, or to allow those dollars to support additional adult trainee or co-op programs so that more graduates coming out of high school can get these immediate paid internships with the City of Cincinnati. In closing, in 2024, it has been a transformative year for the CPI program as we've expanded our outreach and impact significantly across the city schools. Our team's accomplishment reflect the commitment to helping youth shape their future with the City of Cincinnati. Looking ahead to 2025, we will build upon these successes, focusing on new co-op and training programs, and carefully evaluate the future funding allocation decisions to maximize these opportunities for young adults in this area. We are excited to continue this journey and ensure that we remain a catalyst for youth development and economic empowerment in our community. Thank you for that, allowing me to give that update. I will now open it up for questions and comments.
Mr. Johnson, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes. So with our engagement efforts, all 16 Cincinnati public high schools have received 3 major flyers that we created. One talking about the Youth to Work Summer Youth program opportunities to give them a heads up so they can start spreading that word now.
Okay.
Also, a flyer regarding lifeguards, and also if you want to be a firefighter, to have a career as a firefighter, that flyer has also gone out. And it's our goal to be into all 16 of those schools before the winter break. As of right now, all those schools have opened up their doors to us. We're just waiting on 2 to get back with us with a date, but they have been fabulous in working with us and letting us in their schools to talk with their students.
Great, thank you, and thank you, CPS.
In addition to that, those same flyers have been circulated by way of Iris Rowley and her team while they're out at the bus hubs, so we can get that cross-pollination.
Okay,
Yes.
great, and we're going to hear from Mrs. Rowley and Mr. Fletcher a little bit later. Also from Mr. Betts to talk about Youth to Work. Thank you for doing that, that's fantastic.
Yes.
I had a question. So first of all, this is really great news. CPI is booming, and I love that. The Cincinnati Police, of course, you can't really be a police officer until you're 21, and that gap has been something we've been talking about. How do we keep from losing our young people when they become 18, finish high school, and then what do we do until they're 21? So could you tell us a little bit about the GAP program? It sounds like you've solve that problem.
Well, to the Vice Mayor, members of council and the board, to answer your question, yeah, being able to allocate the funding resources to create these paid co-op opportunities, it's a decent wage. It's over $20 an hour, and it's intended for them to retain from age 18 all the way up to 24, even though eligible at 21. Okay. They're supposed to rotate in the various different bureaus of the department. So it's not just a one and done summer co-op. They actually are, it's intended for them to be there for 3 or 4 years so that they have a greater sense of what to expect. It'll make them even better police officers once they're part of the force.
That's fantastic. Okay, thank you. Council members, board members, any questions or comments? Okay, Dr. Moffitt.
Thank you so much for this information. I think that my first question is this open to just CPS students, or is this open to any young person around the city?
It is open to any young person within around the city. The CPD is specifically trying to retain the youth cadets. So the youth cadet program from that 14 until 18, and then we were losing them until they were 21. Right. So we're trying to retain those kids all the way up to recruit. And what I'm really excited is, as we're preparing for the next police recruit class, one of our already current eligible of getting of age, eligible understudies is already put in an application. So it's very exciting.
That's great.
So how many students did you say that were participants, and then how many go into the fields, if you have that data?
It's only been currently this one calendar year, and it is a matter of 10 individuals. When we think of adult co-op programs, we really think of it of around $15,000 to $20,000 per participant annually. And when you think of youth employment, it's usually around $3,000 to $4,000 for just a summer. And people don't realize how fast these resources go. So for 10 folks, we're stretching it, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've seen this amazing man at work. You have just been you can tell how engaged and how much Jude cares when he's presenting. He's been a gem. Keep up the amazing work. And this is what I think the biggest thing is that we have to make sure, and I know the city does as much as they can, but we have to make sure this information is readily available so people know. So one of those pathways is, as Jude alluded to, that all 16 of the CPS high schools, those flyers are there. But I think I think people don't understand how many opportunities are available through the city. We have amazing opportunities, and I don't think, I say this all the time, and my colleagues hear me say this, we don't stick our chest out enough with the opportunities that we are providing for young people. Now, young people, you have to be willing to come grasp and take advantage of these opportunities. But thank you, Deputy Director Carr and Jude, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Moffett asked about non-CPS students. These programs are open to all of our kids. So are you also going to take flyers to some of the charter schools, like the Don schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Don, Cincinnati College and Career Preparatory Academy.
Okay.
Yes, them as well, yes.
Okay, wonderful. And then, and the flyers are for the fire, one of the flyers is for the fire cadets. Are we going to have recruitment for the police cadets as well?
Police cadets, fire cadets, lifeguards, and the Youth to Work Summer Youth Program.
Oh, you've already,
Yes.
okay, that's what
Yes,
you're
all
doing
three of
already.
those flyers, yes.
Oh, good, okay.
Yes. And mentioned also fire recruit. And then we also have another one. It's called municipal worker. And these are for those individuals that decided not to go to college, military. So we're saying, hey, come on and work with us. The 3 E's, enroll, enlist, or you have to employ. All right, and then there's the 4th E, which is entrepreneurship, which a lot of students have expressed. And then there's the 5 E that we try to keep them away from. That's emptiness. Now we're running into the law enforcement, drugs, unwanted pregnancies.
Right.
So we are out there educating them as best we can.
Okay, wonderful, great work. Our youth are definitely our future and our present. They are our current leaders and future leaders. So I really appreciate all the work you're doing with them. Thank you so much.
All right, more than welcome.
We appreciate you. Oh, Ms. Mapp,
Yes, thank you.
you have to hold it down, Kendra,
Okay.
while yeah,
I really-
sorry.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious about the youth's interest. Have they expressed a strong interest in wanting to be engaged in the different opportunities that are available? And if so, can you just share about that? And if not, is there things that we can do to help support the effort?
No, the kids are engaged. The students are engaged. In fact, we're not even going to have enough positions to hire all the students. So it's going to be competitive. So then we bump it down to the lifeguards. We say, hey, you can be a lifeguard at the age of 15 years of age. And consider that if you can swim. So we're starting to get, that's how we got all 24 pools open, really engaging our students, going deep into the schools, lunch visits. But no, they are very much engaged, yes.
Thank you. That's
And like I said, the schools have been fabulous. The counselors, the resource coordinators have opened up their doors and come on in for lunch visits and whatever.
That's great. And I should mention for the lifeguards, because the young people actually can get paid to learn how to swim and then learn how to become lifeguards. And if they decide they would rather do something else at the pools, they don't even have to be lifeguards, right?
Exactly, yes. We have gate attendants, slide attendants, so there's other things that they can get involved with. And that's what it is, educating them on what this process is. Yes. So thank you.
Okay, now, so for those listening on television, is there and those here at home in the audience, is there a number to call?
City of Cincinnati and then /careers. And if you
Okay.
just Google City of Cincinnati careers with the city, you'll see the careers page. You will see the information about career pathways, which also hyperlinks to not only our entry-level full-time employment, youth employment, as well as career connections, where we actually do snapshots about specific employees and career opportunities in the city. So you can learn what it means to be an auto mechanic or a building inspector 1, which is also an entry-level job, high school diploma only, over $50,000 with full benefits. Or a 911 operator, high school diploma only, over $50,000 and full benefits. So while we're also pushing youth employment, we're really driving and trying to target our seniors that are graduating and showing them while you go to school, we have tuition reimbursement. So, consider coming to the city of Cincinnati and making us an employer of choice.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Great
you.
job. I just want to say, so I'm getting a text here that I mispronounced Dr. Smith's name. So Dr. Sherry Adams Davis sent me a text saying it's Alicia, not Alicia. So Dr. Alicia Smith, I apologize. And I see we have some other dignitaries in the audience. I see Mr. Chambers there, former Walnut Hills High School principal.
We were going to get to that.
So Dr. Moffitt's going to introduce the others. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, good job.
Thank you all for that presentation. I was going to fix that, but I also want to share the names of who else from the CPS house is in the building. We've got our assistant superintendents, Mr. Chambers and Deb Klein. We've got our IT chief information officer, Mr. Jeremy Gullahue.
All right.
We've got our chief operations officer, Mr. Chris Burkhart, And our general counsel is hiding in the back. We've got Dan Hoyen.
All right.
So we came prepared to get whatever questions we needed. We have our HR director also.
Thank you so much. And I was going to say, Mr. Burkhart is going to present later. And Jeremy, I just want to say thank you because during COVID, you were so fantastic. We were calling you about computers and you were on the ball. It's just really a lot of work. So thank you so much for that. Mr. Gallahue. Did I say it right? Okay. I kind of shied away. I'm like, Jeremy, no, okay, we're gonna get the last name. Okay, give you your props. All right, thank you so much. All right, our next presentation, we're still talking about youth employment opportunities. We have the phenomenal Daniel Betts, the Director of Cincinnati Recreation Commission. Thank you so much.
Moving a little slow today. All right, how's everybody doing? To the chair, council, and members of the school board. My name is Daniel Betts. I have the pleasure of serving as Cincinnati's Director of Cincinnati Recreation Commission. To my left, I have my colleague, Brandy Sanders, who is our division manager and has come up through the ranks of Cincinnati Recreation Commission and is on our recreation operations side and really is implementing a lot of the work that we're doing in CRC as it relates to youth across our department. I also want to take a moment to introduce in the audience or at least call out other staff members, Davita Webb, who has only been with us 2 days. Davita is new. She is our newest addition to the team. She will be on the recreation ops side working with Brandy and Dave Harris, who's our assistant director here as well with us. And then I also recognize ACM Hampton, who's also in the room, who is a part of the city leadership and wanted to make sure she was acknowledged here. So I'm going to...
Thank you for that, Mr. Betts. I appreciate it.
Yes, no doubt. I am going to talk about Youth to Work. Our colleagues before us gave you some of the things that certainly we are in crossover with them as it relates to the Lifeguard Academy and hiring guards for our 24 pools across the city. And that was a huge feat for not only Central HR, but for CRC and a lot of community partners, to be quite frank, that stepped up to the plate, and City Council, who also stepped up to the plate and made sure that we were able to increase our wage for lifeguards from $11 and $12 an hour to where we stand now, tipping $15, $17, and $18, depending on what leadership role you play at one of our pools. Our mission for Youth to Work, a couple administrations back, how this all began for us. I had a conversation with then city manager, Harry Black at the time, and members of council, and they were looking for, the city was looking for the proper place to actually put Youth to Work. And so I advocated for Youth to Work because my passion has always been about youth and making sure that youth have opportunities so that they can thrive in our community. And so we took that on 8 years ago, and the goal then, and I'm gonna challenge, not here tonight, but certainly as we're in this budget process and as we move through here in the next several months, we are going to be asking for more resources to hire more kids, hire more young people, because Youth to Work, let me just, before we get into our presentation, is really not about just giving kids or young people a job. We do wraparound services where we are actually doing mentoring. We're actually working with young people on conflict resolution, interviewing skills, and we're bringing in, during our time frame of Youth to Work, we're bringing in outside mentors, both male, female, white, black, brown, every spectrum of the city to talk to young people about their experiences
quote unquote, in the real world, if you will. And so we're seeing that having some serious impact on young people. We are the largest employer of young people in this city. I think sometimes people forget that from the city standpoint, but we are the folks who are putting jobs in young people's hands at our height, 500, when we're experiencing cuts and shortfalls, somewhere between 160 to 200 young people, and we'll talk about where we're at today, obviously. I'm going to start with the presentation by just kind of highlighting again our vision, our mission. Some of you have heard this before, so that's why I'm saying this again. But our Youth to Work program provides summer jobs to young people, coupled with comprehensive training component to build on skills developed at work sites. The mission of Youth to Work is to foster academic, personal, and professional growth through real-world experiences. In 2024, we hired 233 young people were employed between May and September. Again, I think we can hire more young people. We have anywhere between 700 to 800 applicants. That means we're turning a significant number of young people away. I would love to know, and my staff knows that I've asked for us to start looking into, is there a way we can find out where those young people who we're turning away are getting picked up at? So we're working on that process of actually identifying what that means and how we will do that, obviously. Brandon.
So just, I'm sorry, good evening, Vice Mayor, council members, and board members. Again, thank you all for giving us this opportunity to share all of the great work that's happening at CRC. One of the mantras that we stand on when it comes to Youth to Work is youth are the hope for the future. And we truly believe that, and we try to exhibit that through everything that we do in the work with the young people. And so the purpose of Y2WK, we employ youth 14 to 24 years old. We develop teens to employ in employment readiness and soft skill development. So as Director Betts mentioned, we bring out outside mentors, we bring speakers, they have trainings every Monday on job development and readiness. We do education and financial literacy, because that is a breakdown in the communities that we're serving. And then our goal is to increase the likelihood that when these young people leave us, they're ready to step into any job and be prepared to represent themselves, their homes, their communities in the best way possible.
That's fantastic.
In 2024, we do this every year, the Mayor's Expo. Many of you have been and attending that. The Expo is an opportunity for individuals to apply for and obtain an employment with that explore career options. And those options range from, well, as far as attendance, we've had in 2024, 400 attended, 60 plus employers in attendance, which was huge for us. We were able to get more employers from in the past. And these are not just city jobs. These are private sector jobs as well as nonprofit jobs. 80 plus different schools engaged in the Mayor's Expo. So this was not just, obviously the biggest was CPS, but there were other school districts that showed up for the Mayor's Expo. Over 40 interviews were conducted on site. Just wanted to provide a brief update on that.
And to provide a few more stats from our hiring versus not hired, we had 708 young people apply this year for jobs. Over 250 teens were interviewed. Approximately 500 teens were not able to be hired, and 9 began work and stopped work. So just to give you a quick synopsis of what happened there.
A demographic breakdown for our ages in terms of who we're serving. 93% of the young people who we employ are between the ages of 14 and 17. The female breakdown is 62%, so we're clearly hiring more females than we are young men. And then there's a 3% that are other, and then there's a 1% that are classified as non-binary.
Then we have 75% of teens in the program that came directly from poverty. And then we have 1% of the young people who identify as Hispanic.
And then 75% of the teens who are in the program have been classified by application, and what they put on the application has been living in poverty. The actual grant that we receive from the federal government CDBG funding for this program requires 51%. Our goal is always to exceed that. So we're truly hiring kids who really need this opportunity the most. As a breakdown, a total of about 40% have identified themselves as being very low income within that 75% total of what we've hired. And then moderate income was roughly around 20%.
Yes. Okay. And then 75% of the children live outside of the city property. And 44% of these youth attend Cincinnati Public School. And 4% of the teens were high school graduates.
One of the comments and we survey the kids. It's also important to mention that this program is also evaluated by the University of Cincinnati. So we have real data, real matrix that we use to really kind of look at the young people's experience. They tell us. So when there's a pre and post test, a survey actually that they actually fill out, and then UC actually runs that data and shares it with us, and we tend to share that with our board. And so one of the things that we've also with this survey asked young people is, how has this experience, if it has changed their life, how has it changed their life? And one of the, I'll just read a comment from one of the young people. What I liked best was when people came in and spoke to us and were helping us out with things that we needed in the future. I feel like a lot of people need information like that, but don't have the accessibility to someone who can give them that information. I'm very grateful for getting this experience. So again, it's not just about jobs, it's also about mentorship, and it's also about skill development for these young people.
And so a couple of key takeaways that we'd like to leave you all, leave on your mind. Again, we had 708 applicants. 30%, it was a 30% decrease in the application pool from the year before. Okay. And over 250 teens were interviewed. And that a lot of those interviews happen during the mayor's career fair, or we have focused interviews in the evenings when they're getting out of school to make sure that we capture as many youth as we possibly can. Program outcome, we have 69% to be considered for rehire. Only 5% did not complete the whole program, and 3% were unable to work due to HR or program requirements. Training, teens were given, I'm sorry, I couldn't see that. I can't see that.
Financial literacy.
Okay, so teens were given the financial literacy training, as I mentioned before. They were educated in mental health awareness. Most teens were also certified in CPR. Again, on those Mondays, these were classes that they were mandated to take to continue to be part of the program. We had 75 to 90%, well, 75% were in poverty of some type. The grant required 51% of the participants to be impoverished, and 90% lived within the city limits. We spent 20,993 hours with these young people just this summer. So we are happy to say that.
And totaling that amount.
And so spending a total of $272,000 was spent directly on either salaries or training for the young people.
That's fantastic.
I think it's also worth mentioning that we were amongst the first in the city to partner with the Marison Center to do trauma-informed care for all our staff members. And now we're taking that to the next level, and we're going to be doing that with young people as well, so that they are aware of the trauma that they're carrying with them. And so very proud of that. We were also, as a result of doing that here in Cincinnati, we were invited to the National Parks and Recreation Association, and Brandy and another colleague who's not here, Kristen Riggins, actually presented what we did around trauma-informed care, and we're getting calls to actually do that in other places.
That's fantastic.
Plan for 2025. Well, I've already mentioned that I think that there is an opportunity to expand this good work that the city and CRC and our partners are doing. I also think that there is an opportunity to increase our collaboration and partnership with nonprofits and other agencies in this city that do work that we don't do, but yet add value to young people's lives. We are planning to implement an age and skill appropriate opportunities. Again, this is just looking at the life skills component and the other pieces that we do around working with young people around, life skills and mentoring. What other things can we be doing with them outside of the work environment? It's also important to mention that we, at the end of the season, bring all these young people together and we do a big celebration with them for them completing their summer employment. And many of you have been out to that
those are fun.
huge
Yeah.
event. We want to streamline the summer program that feeds into long-term jobs and placement and training with the career paths. We want to do more work closer with them so that what we're doing does not duplicate, but complements what they're doing. And some of that we've already done just by targeting the ages that we target and the ages that they target. We want to launch a job readiness program and prepare teens and young adults for next summer, which include more engagement and interaction. And we don't want to hire young people just for the summer. Young people need jobs year round. So we want to hire them around the academic year as well as in spring and summer. But again, we need resources to do that. I think it's important to say, just to highlight this particular slide around the citywide young employment, the universe, if you will. Pathway certainly indicated a little bit around how many young people they're hiring. The universe for us this past summer was 646 young people total. That's not just youth to work.
Right.
That's the 317 lifeguards that we hired. That's the 76 Cincinnati Police Department and Cincinnati Fire Department cadets that we hired. That's the National Junior Tennis League, that 29 young people that we hired and placed them there. We placed another 93 young people this past summer in our summer day camp programs. That's 17 and 18-year-olds working with, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, which truly makes a difference. Those young people can better relate to these younger people, more so than some of my own veteran staff, if you will. And then Y2K, we hired 131 young people, and we said that already. In conclusion, Y2WK program has been in existence for 17 years. We've been at the helm of it for 8 years. It has been managed by Cincinnati Recreation Commission, as we are the leading provider within the city government for youth, particularly around jobs and programming, if you will. Through the years, we have seen our funding increase and decrease, causing concern with planning future years, but continue to keep the mission and the vision of the program alive. Y2WK program has created pathways for students not only to work in recreation, police, fire, but in community partners such as the Cincinnati Museum, Voice of Your Customer, Lord's Gym, and many others on the private sector side. The program provides our young people with job readiness, financial literacy, and mental health. The Y2WK program is a positive outlet for our young people to build their network and to get exposure to multiple opportunities in their city. Thank you, and I open it up to questions.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic. I love the idea of the year-round employment. Our young people really need that. Let me ask you, are there placement opportunities year-round, or is that something you would have to look for, or do you think they're already out there?
I think they're already out there.
Okay, so the real issue is getting the funding for that, for those placements.
Yes.
And then for the students who weren't hired, was the issue, placement money, or was it something that the students could have done differently, that they need to be trained to do differently?
You're saying the
For
young
those
people who
weren't
wasn't hired?
Yeah,
We
for
didn't
those who were not hired.
For the young people who wasn't hired, we didn't have placement sites.
Oh, okay.
Well, we didn't have the money to place them. We had, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that.
You had the sites,
We had
but
the
not
sites, we didn't have the money.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, because I was going to say, I really love the component of the program that's the soft skills, to really help them not just get the job, but keep the job. Things like getting there on time, how do you show up for work? I mean, that kind of thing really can be an issue if you haven't been trained. And so the training is a big part of that.
Yeah, our original goal years back when we first got this was to employ 1,000 young people across the city year round. That
Love
was
that.
the goal.
That's a great goal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think we can achieve that, but we're going to need resources to do it. And again, we indicated, even in this conversation, that we turned away some 500 young people because we didn't have places to put them.
Okay, 1,000 year round, let's do it. I love it.
We didn't have
Okay.
money to put them, I'm sorry. Let me
All right.
make sure.
And let me just point out, and Councilmember Johnson is next, let me just point out that President Bolton is also on your board, so I just wanted to
Absolutely,
give a
yes.
shout out to her.
Yes.
Okay, Councilmember Johnson.
Just very quickly, I've always said that CRC, I call them the ambassadors to the city of Cincinnati, not Cincinnati Police and Fire, but they are actually the ambassadors to this city. That's no knock on the amazing work our public safety folk do
We don't have
every
to
day.
choose, they can all be
But-
the ambassadors. Don't you?
No, I call them the ambassadors because they're right there
Okay.
at the ground level almost every day. Just one quick question. What does that deficit gap look like, Director Betts, to get to where there may be a possibility for 1,000 young people to be employed year-round?
Yeah, that number has changed. Let me get back to you on the exact number of that, because years ago, we had that exact number, but things have changed and we've increased the salary rates for young people. So that number is going to be slightly different than what it was a couple years back.
Yeah, let me know.
I'll get back to you on that number.
Let me know, because I believe, and I think my record speaks for it, I believe in investing in people versus things, investing in people versus things. And if those type of opportunities are available, we've got to do everything we can to explore the possibility of getting it to those numbers where no young people are turned away that want to work. But once again, young people, here's the opportunity if you want the opportunity. Some of this goes back to these young people that have to have a desire to go to work. And if that many jobs are available, then we've got to tap in to make sure that we're doing everything we can financially as a city. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Craig.
So I'll be really brief. I want to thank you for the presentation. I also want to acknowledge something that I heard from a lot of our young folks as we would go out and meet with them, which is the life skills part of it. Because for far too often, getting a job is only one aspect of a youth getting experience in a workspace, right? It's learning how to communicate, learning how to do presentations, learning how to manage your resources and allocate time and budgets. And so I think the fact that you were talking about the life skill trainings and the additional things of even understanding how to do an interview,
Right.
how to fill out an application, what do the things on the application even mean, is a really important skill set that I know a lot of our students had spoke about, and several of our students at a couple of our schools have done presentations on, about wanting to learn more about that. And so I think that may be another opportunity when, even for those students at this time when we may not be able to always serve them, but to be able to provide some additional resources towards some of those life skill things that might be a benefit to them beyond, until we have the capacity or until we have established the capacity to support them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Councilmember Nolan?
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for being here. I want to echo what Councilmember Johnson said. Money spent on programs like this, it really is an investment in people, and who else better to invest in than young people who are learning skills that they'll benefit from the rest of their lives. I was just curious, somewhere in the numbers that you were sharing, you mentioned the percentage that live in the city of Cincinnati, I believe, and then maybe mentioned a requirement for a certain percentage to be from the city of Cincinnati. I was just wondering if you could expand on whose requirement is that, and how do those numbers match up?
The requirement to live in the city is not a requirement from the federal government. What we talked about is the requirement to hire young people who live in poverty is at 51%. We exceeded that with 75%. And so there is no mandate either from the city and or from the federal government to hire only young people in Cincinnati.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Mapp.
So thank you for the presentation. I'm thinking about my experience as a school counselor. And so I know that for several colleges, just the work program or extracurricular activities are huge in the college admissions process. And so I'm wondering, with the program that you're providing in terms of the soft skills, how are you supporting the students in the college admission process and application process? And if you have data around those students that, obviously have graduated from the program and possibly were admitted into college, do you have any information about that, or is there any connection there?
So our college partnership is primarily with Cincinnati State, where we host most of our trainings with the young people, their touch points. They have weekly touch points that if they're not in community or on job site, they're at Cincinnati State. Specific to your question around are we tracking young people who are coming through the program and whether or not they're going to college, we're not tracking that currently. But that is something that we have discussed and talked about.
Thank you for that.
President Bolton.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. One of the great pleasures of being on the school board is getting appointed to the Recreation Commission. And I have been so impressed with the work that is done there by the folks with very limited financial means when you think about it. But I think tonight, this emphasis on the career path that we've heard, and then also this previous goal of 1,000 young people being employed year-round, that's not a bad thing for maybe both the city and the school district to contemplate as a major goal for our young people. And I have to say that the opportunity that presents itself of the confluence of values and commitments, as well as just the proximity of the work we do, because it's all about kids. We're here for kids, as our superintendent says. It seems to me that we could find even more ways to partner, not only serving the individual students that we might share, but also even as we move farther down the road on the reorganization of the district, when we also can be looking at the properties that we all possess, which we'll talk about later, but even as we start to think about more mixed use, more shared service opportunity, and expanding the Surface Day, I think is something for all of us. I know that's what the taxpayers and the citizens want, but I also know that's what our young people need. But I've been very impressed with the work that is done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I just have to say that we do have half an hour left and we have a long way to go. So we're going to start speeding up the presentations a little bit, if that's okay. Thank you so much for this. Don't go anywhere though, because you're actually next as well. So now we're on B, Cincinnati Recreation Commission, after school care. And I know that you're going to talk a little bit about some of the after school care programs just kind of quickly. And then President Bolton would like to share the graph that's on or the information that's on the PowerPoint here about the proximity of Cincinnati Recreation Commission, Cincinnati Recreation Centers, and our CPS schools. Okay.
So I'm going to sum up what would easily take an hour to talk you through. But we're gonna sum this up in 5 minutes to 10 minutes. I'll do my best.
5 minutes would be.
5 or less.
5 minutes,
5 or less.
5 or less. We'll do our best.
Five or less, Dr. Moffitt said. Okay.
We
5
do
or
a
less.
lot with CPS. We're done.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
No, in all honesty, we do a lot. I have a handout.
That's perfect.
I can certainly leave that. It really just kind of summarizes in current state what we do with CPS. But we do quite a bit with them in the after-school component space. Most of our after-school is in our spaces, obviously, but there are some spaces that we are in CPS where we're doing after-school care for young people in those schools. We also, in the last 3 years have gotten a resource coordinator. Our resource coordinator works out of Hyde Park, but we just brought on another resource coordinator that will be working. I don't think we've determined where that individual is going to go, but I think it'll probably be Pleasant Sands Montessori School. Summer camps. Our programming around summer camps and who we hire. A lot of people may not know, we hire when the school personnel, particularly teachers, teacher aides, when they're not working in the summer in the school, they're working with us. We hire a lot of them to work in our pools. Some of our best pool attendants and some of our best pool trainers are coming from CPS, to be quite frank. We also partner with CPS partners, ABC. We just, Sally, I believe, was here. We just launched a STEM lab at one of our rec centers. We're looking to do more of that. We understand the history of CRC. The CRC was birthed out of CPS and parks in this city, and that there's always been, this is why we have a direct board member from CPS on our board and a board member from Park Board, because the visionaries back then saw that those three were very important. So just wrapping that up, I just want to make sure that I didn't lose sight of our 3 pages here. We're also, in specifically youth sports leagues is probably, and sharing ball fields is probably the biggest partnership we have with CPS. We manage a lot of their fields, particularly fields that are not connected to the school. And we've done a lot of work around working with CPS to get funding to renovate those ball fields. I'll leave it at that. I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Mr. Betts, thank you so much. So, and the real message here is that to find out about a lot of these after-school programs at the various rec centers, one can go online to cincinnati-oh.gov. And I should ask to make sure that's correct, because
Yeah, well, for us, it's
for us, it just pops up.
CincinnatiRec.org.
CincinnatiRec.org.
Yeah, Cincinnati,
okay.
yeah, CinciRec.org
Okay.
gets you to our website, which is a link off the city's website.
Yeah, the city's website links to everything, but just to go directly to yours.
CinciRec.org.
Okay.
Get directly to us, and
Okay.
it will list what we do in our childcare.
Okay, that's great. And then President Bolton wanted us to look at the proximity of schools to rec centers, so please comment on that.
Yes, again, over many, many actual generations and decades, decision makers for the city and decision makers for the school board have consciously put facilities close at hand when possible. And the reality is this is a synergy that's created if we start to think of not just having schoolyards, but thinking in terms of campuses. And when you start to put together both the recreation center, the school, in some places there's also a library and what have you, it's just it's a synergy that we could make better use of, and I know we do already. Talking about after-school care, the after-school care, 1,200 and some kids were serviced this past year. And frankly, it's a revenue generator as well as a service provided. But I do think both the city and the recreation folks and the Cincinnati Public Schools If we expand our view and think in terms of campuses and our shared values, but our shared services presented, we could really do even more because people before us made the right decision to concentrate that effort. So it's very exciting. So thank you for allowing us to share that.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad you're on the board because it sounds like there's more to come for that, so we appreciate it. Mr. Betts, Ms. Sanders, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay, our next presentation, Transit Center update. We're going to call up Iris Rowley, consultant to the city manager, and attorney Gabe Fletcher. And Gabe, let me get your title correct. Violence Reduction Program Manager, both with the city manager's office, and then Bill Vidra, who's director of our ECC. Okay.
All right.
And just keep in mind, and I'm sorry to rush everybody, but we are, you know, I know CPS board members stay really late. We don't do that here in the city, in City Hall. We will not be here at 11 o'clock. So, so we are going to push. Okay.
I certainly
Councilmember
understand.
Johnson said not even 8 o'clock. That's right. Okay.
So, good evening to you, Vice Mayor, council members, the board, interim superintendent. As you just mentioned, my name is Gabriel Fletcher. I'm the Violence Reduction Programs Manager here at the City of Cincinnati. And this evening, obviously, I'm here to talk about transit centers, along with consultant to the city, Iris Rowley, and Director of ECC, Bill Vidra. Since February 2024, Mrs. Rowley has worked tirelessly, and I mean tirelessly, to assist youth at Government Square. With a now set small team, but a mighty effort, the data demonstrates that Government Square has improved. It's become a better space.
Data for you. She won't get that. I have data for you, but they
Oh,
wouldn't take it.
I'm sorry, yeah, so Mrs. Rowley, I'm sorry about that because we have to, but we'll do it later. We don't have a quorum to actually accept the information, but we'll have it and we'll make sure all the council members get it. And at the next meeting, we can actually file it at our next meeting so that it goes in the file. And that's actually, I should say, all the presentations today will go in the file, so.
You can give it to Ms. Davis, and she'll ensure that the board members get it.
I'm sorry, give it to whom?
Mrs. Davis, our board admin,
I'll
and
give
she
it to you.
will.
Yes, she wouldn't take it, but I'll give it to you, yes.
She'll ensure that all of the CPS board members get it.
Thank you.
We've got you, don't worry. Okay.
Her team has worked to engage youth, intervene in events, build relationships with community and police between the students down there at Government Square, and the city has now formalized a partnership through the Government Square Collaborative Agreement Community Care Initiative with her team. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Rowley to talk about her experience, but then next we're going to have Director Vidra. He's going to follow up and discuss the community responder model being built in ECC.
Thank you, Director Fletcher. To the board chair, to CPS, and to all of the staff, and to the citizens that are sitting behind me. My name is Iris Rowley, and I'm going to be dual here so that you understand the lens of why being on Government Square was so important. I am a founding member of the Cincinnati Black United Front, and I also serve in the role and capacity to the city manager and to the police chief on collaborative agreement, public safety, and all things policing. Now, the reason that we were on Government Square is because we got a call from the city manager and from the police chief. The city was being pressured to put more police on Government Square. Nothing new in response to handling children to folk who don't understand, but not new to us knowing that you just cannot put police with children. We had been there before and we didn't want to go backwards. I got a call from the city manager and the chief asking me what could I particularly do in that potential fireball of a situation. So I got up out of my sick bed and I said, I'm going to watch the police, because for 23 years, we have spent an enormous amount of time building our police force in service to working with the Black community. If you've not read the collaborative agreement, I would encourage you to do so. Paragraph 13 is the driving force of why Cincinnati had to change. It wasn't just because police were behaving poorly. It wasn't just because community police relations were bad. It was the state of all things around, in particular, more specific, Black people. Paragraph 13 will give you the 3 reasons, the necessity of why we sued the city, the FOP, and its police in federal court. Now, going to Government Square, one, for me, was to ensure that all of the things that we had worked on and that we had built would not die on the vine. Because we simply, as the adults, could not figure out, and it was nothing new, it had been happening for years, several years at Government Square, that our children were engaging in behavior that was non-productive, could potentially land them in jail and or dead. So I told the city manager and the police chief I am going to ensure that the work that we had fought so hard for, and that 15 unarmed Black men in this city died at the hands of cops, that would not happen on Government Square. What we found was an opportunity to problem solve. Problem solve is the foundation of the collaborative agreement. It gives us the opportunity to take a step back, to look at what are the root causations of all of these issues that we see in our front yard, no matter where the children come from, no matter what school they went to, no matter what grade, no matter what color, no matter how much impoverished they are, no matter how mentally unstable they were, but to simply service them. What we found were a host of opportunities, Vice Mayor, and to the council and to the school board, of which you've heard me talk about a plethora of times. There isn't anything new that I'm going to say to you outside of the 2 young ladies that I just sent the picture to you. I didn't want to send it to everybody because that's something in addition that we do. But what I want to say is that to the city, all of the blood, sweat, and tears and all of the sacrificing and cursing that probably came from me in the past 24 years, I actually saw come to fruition on Government Square. I saw our police department work hand in hand with volunteers day after day after day. So much so they gave me the most food cards and gift cards to help feed our children. I saw the Cincinnati Police Department, really using restraint in some situations where I wanted to elbow a couple of kids because I am a mother and a grandmother, and I'm old school, middle-aged, but raised old school, so throw to the stomach. But we couldn't do that. What I actually witnessed was the opportunity of our captains to problem solve even deeper, more than I ever would have dreamed possible in such a very tense situation. And I wanted to get that out because I want Cincinnati, and moreover Black Cincinnati, to understand that we could have potentially put ourselves in a situation where we would have ended up on CNN and children would be hurt, and that we would sabotage the work of the police department, that those who had put in, who are now believers in problem solving and seeing people, moreover seeing children as youth and handling them differently. We built a team of people to assist us because what we saw was the things that we see every day. We saw mental health, we saw runaways, we saw when you stop looking at children and when you stop watching them and you see them, you will see the homelessness, you will see the hunger, you will see the frustration, you will see the inability to accept whatever they did learn at school that day because potentially going home was to a bigger problem than going to school. We saw children with children, we see it every single day. So the city manager allowed me to bring in more of our city partners to assist us, meaning in a short window of time, because it is a transit center, it's not a place where you can really engage board member map and do an assessment of the mind, but a quick talk and touch and love and checking and balancing. It wasn't that we were there to say to the police, hey, get Bill, Bill is acting up. Why is Bill coming here to act up? So we surveyed, we did our SARE process, we brought in UMADOP, Talbot House, Urban League, Kroger, Sorta Metro, Help Feed the Kids First, Cincinnati Reds, UMADOP, as I said, Rocio Awards, YWCA, Children's Law Center, Exclusive Services, the NAACP, and please let me say CRC with the silent disco. These things that children were introduced and these individuals that children were introduced to, they had never been introduced to before. Working with juvenile courts on those in our first iteration from February to the end of school year, we had 98 arrests. 80% of those arrests were first time. Why? That wasn't the goal that I was seeking. My job was to reduce the amount of arrests. But we can talk about that later, and we will, because there's a bigger report coming out. All of the numbers are not here, but what we can show you and quantify with you, working with community partners while utilizing SARE, as we have seen inside and working with the Cincinnati Police Department, we have reduced the opportunity and the ability to commit crime down on Government Square. However, if you look in a block radius, we still have some issues. We've traversed from Government Square to Oakley Square. We've seen a reduction in that as well. And there are other partners that we have trained in Northside at the Northside Transit Center who want to help as well. I'm gonna make this quick. One of the biggest things that we've seen is that our children are hungry. And if you know me, you know that I've asked you to help. I know Dr. Smith sends me money, she'll cash at me when she wakes. I was just thinking about you. And I thank you for that because my account was $500 in the negative. Because I refuse to tell children no. However, we have a big community partner that did step up 4 weeks ago, City Gospel Mission. They come every week and feed up to 90 kids. They bring 90 bag lunches, have not asked us for a dime. We want to thank Councilwoman Anna Albee for putting forth the $50,000 for additional food around these transit centers because we know our children are hungry. I also want to thank City Manager Long for infusing the team of 4 that is on Government Square with dollars to be paid. That didn't come from the legislators. They came out of the city manager's office because of the commitment 4 years ago to youth violence and to youth problem solving. Did I cover everything?
Well, the 100,000 that City Council allocated for the community workers.
I don't know where that is, and that's not part of what we
You're
have,
not
but
gonna
if there's
talk about that
additional money,
today?
yeah,
Okay.
we would love to see
All right,
that.
we'll give an update for the city manager's office and give an update for that later. But
Yeah.
City Council did allocate that, and so we're very excited about that as well.
Was it in the ordinance with the 50,000? It just
yeah.
said the 275.
Well, it's on the entire carryover. I think if you look at the budget, it's number 17.
Okay, will do, thank you for that. Yes, and so
I might
what
have jumped the gun. They'll be discussing it with you. So.
Thank you. And so I do want to say that part of what makes our team so unique is that we share language here in the city of Cincinnati. And I would encourage you all once again to please read the agreement because problem solving using SARE has gotten us this far. And when I say us, the reason that we filed our lawsuit was to reduce mass incarceration. And we have. In the year of 2001, Cincinnati PD arrested over 35,000 people. In the year 2020, it was 11,000. Simply because we have problem solving using SARE as our driving force, meaning using data, laser focus. These things that we know will work. Our guys are trained in de-escalation and in problem solving. It's not just about showing up, it's about what you're showing up with, and are you going to be consistent? Do you really love the children? And how can we continuously help the families?
Okay, don't mean to rush you, but I do
Yes,
have to
you
rush you a
did.
little bit. Okay, Mr. Fletcher, I know, and Mr. Vidra want to speak too. So thank you, Iris Rowley, for that. Okay, Gabriel Fletcher.
Pass the baton over to Director Vidra.
Good evening,
Okay, Bill
thank you.
Vidra.
Really what I have to add is that we are working towards expanding our existing alternative response to crisis model to be able to put more boots on the ground, build off the work that is being done at our transit centers. So in 2022, the city began a program called ARC, or Alternative Response to Crisis. We've had great support from the city council and our city administration to scale that over the last 2 years, where we're putting clinicians, paramedics in a role as part of our broader criminal justice diversion strategy, where we really want to keep people out of the criminal justice system at any point that we can and divert away from those systems. And so over the last 2 years, we've sent these ARC teams to thousands of 911 calls that historically would have been handled by police because they are our Swiss Army knife of government, frankly. We use our police officers for everything and far beyond really what police are designed to do. So ARC has taken those 911 calls and has been connecting people to services. We want to get them reconnected to services or connected to services that they've never been connected to before, to keep them out of the criminal justice system, to get them to housing, to food. And we want to bring that same approach to some of these spaces like transit centers where We have people that are capable of doing that and are in the process of hiring 12 additional staff members called community responders that will be part of that program. They began training this week, our first group of them. We hope to have all 12 on board by the end of this calendar year. And then we'll be using them at transit centers in particular, where Monday through Friday, we intend to have those folks deployed, being present as problem solvers, as mediators, as folks who are knowledgeable and able to help both the volunteers that are there and the police officers that are there, and being an additional safe adult presence with youth.
So I know we are pressed for time.
And I
wondering if anyone
apologize,
has
we
any
are,
questions?
yeah. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Vice President Weinberg.
I don't.
You have to
This is a little different. Mrs. Rolla, thank you so much for all that you do, and of course, everyone here today with you. My one question that I wanted to ask is, from talking with the teens and talking with the youth down at Government Square and the different transit stations, what are you hearing that they may want more of, or what is it that they're desiring? Because I know as you're talking to young people, we really want to hear their voices. And so I just wanted to kind of have you share very quickly, or we can talk a little bit offline. What are you hearing in the streets?
This is Weinberg, to the chair, to the board. We're hearing one. I had a young man, I'll give it to you straight, tell me, Mrs. Rowley, I didn't come down here to be disrespected. By you, I get disrespected all day long at school. I hear it all the time. And so it's difficult to try to build relationships when the environment that they're coming from is tense. We hear that they're hungry. We hear that they're afraid to be in their neighborhoods. We hear that it's safer to be downtown at Club Square than it is to be in their neighborhoods, that there isn't much to do. They really want teachers, they want to feel like teachers care about them. They want the school environment to be a welcoming environment and not one that's adversarial. And please call on them all the time, because we've seen an increase of children being arrested at school, so we don't know what's going on there. Would love to collaborate and talk about what that looks like for problem-solving measures. So those are the things that you hear from kids. They want to be seen, heard, and loved, and they want the same opportunities as they see other children have.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, Councilmember Johnson.
Just very quickly, thank you all. Like you said, some of us have been at this since 2000. And this is what collaboration looks like. This is also what boldness, getting out of traditional comfort zones look like. And that could not just be done through legislators, police. It has to be done with everybody playing their role. And this is why we have to continuously stretch and go beyond comfort zones to make sure that we are moving the needle when it comes to making sure young people are being treated with respect. I think that's happening, but it's a continuous process. But we also have to be willing to make sure they're being heard. And then the role I now play versus my previous role is making sure that funding is available to get it where it needs to go, where we continue this great success. Thank you all very, very, very much.
Right, and that's
Thank you
why I
for
was-
your prayers and my mother's transition. I appreciate all of you who reached out. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, Dr. Moffitt.
I'm just going to be really brief because we really are pressed with time. Thank you to you and your team. I've met you at the transit centers before. I've seen the work that you do. I've seen the interaction with children. It has become, I think, in the public, a contentious issue between CPS, but it's not just CPS. This is a systemic issue. What you're talking about is a systemic issue that is plaguing our young people. If they're hungry, if they're not safe in their neighborhoods, that's a city, CPS, county issue. And we really need to have everyone at the table. So thank you for stepping up, That's why we created these meetings as a way for us to hear what's going on so that we can collaboratively work and get it out to the community that these are all of our kids. And so thank you for the work that you all are doing. I know we have to be brief. I have tons of questions. I'll bring them offline, and I think some of my colleagues do as well, because we've had conversations as well. So it's just not in the best interest of time, but don't take the fact that I'm not asking questions that I don't have any.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to hear from us.
Lots to do, but thank you.
The conversation will continue even after the meeting. Also want to give a shout out. Brothers Inc. members are here. I know they're down a lot at the transit centers. Thank you for your work there. There are probably others here too that I haven't recognized. I also want to recognize Sally Grimes with Activities Beyond the Classroom for all the after-school activities for our kids. Thank you for that. It's wonderful. So anything else, final words?
I do want to say the first iteration of when we were on Government Square, we helped to solidify 100 jobs through Urban League with our young people. I don't know how many we got through CRC. We got about 30 jobs through the Cincinnati Reds. So the work is not in vain. We just need more people to step up, and we need to scale up so that we are at all the transit sites across the city.
That's great, and I can assure you City Council did put funding into that, so you'll be hearing more about it. So for people and for food. So that's a plus. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Okay, so we need to move along. Next, we're going to hear from Superintendent Shauna Murphy about the plan for CPS growth.
And she's going to be very brief, but in the interim, before she starts, I want to say to our HR Director, Julia Indalacio, thank you for coming and being here. And then Rob Wilson is our IT person who makes it happen behind the scenes, and I want to say thank you to him too.
And also, Ms. Murphy's going to mention the Public Safety Academy, and if it's okay if I say this, that there is, and just so William West and Rafael Prophet know, there is a meeting with both of you that's being planned, that's coming up, and you might not have gotten the notice yet, but the dates we're trying to work those out. So it's with the, for the police, for the fire, CPS, the city, and am I missing someone else who's at the table? City manager's office. Okay, all right, just to let you know. So stay tuned, but if you haven't gotten a notice, you'll be getting it soon. Okay, we're going to turn it over to Superintendent Murphy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Yes, so we, in addition to that meeting, Vice Mayor, Mr. Prophet, Mr. West, and I have already agreed to have a conversation on the 25th coming up, just to be very brief. So we are having conversation about what that Public Service Academy looks like. And as we transition into talking about our growth plan in Phase 2. Joining us, we do have Mr. Burkhart, Mr. Chambers, Mr. Gallahue, but we'll be super brief, and I'll let them go ahead and start that conversation. Brief, super brief.
Because we won't be here till 11
Just
tonight.
with the engagement information that you see here, we've had 22 meetings with principals, and we are currently doing a second round of meetings with the school's LSDMCs, and we have meetings with community councils, and we are also scheduling several town halls with them in our various communities that are where the schools are being affected in Phase 2.
Do you mind if we just start by kind of framing what's going on here? Because my understanding is that some of the schools are under-enrolled, and so that's one issue. And then also the need to have middle schools to be separate from the lower schools is another issue. So just so people understand what some of the issues are.
I'm going to go ahead and give a very high level of what is happening with Phase 2. So just to start, when the deputy and I started this work in the spring, we were initially faced with closing our budget gap. That gap at that time was about $32 million. In order to do that, we started by looking at each department in our school district and every schoolhouse in our school district to take a look at what we can begin to do differently. We knew if we kept running business as it has been for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we would find ourselves working on a $32 million or more deficit every year. So what I decided to do is look at the board's ad hoc plan that had been going on for about a 2-year period of time, in addition to being a 25-plus year employee of the district, knowing and understanding other conversations that have been going on. In addition to that, looking at what is happening in our city in terms of the growth, expansion of our neighborhoods, what is happening with development, in order to come up with this plan that we presented to the board starting in the summer. We started this summer with several of our schools, including Riverview East Academy, Spencer Center, our Dr. Odell Owens Center for Learning, our Promise Center, and our Spencer Center High School. From that, we were able to start our first middle school, starting junior high, 7th and 8th grade, Schroeder Junior High School, which is now in the Dr. Owens building, the original building. And so that all happened in a 6-week period of time. Phase 2, because that wasn't going to be enough in order for us to keep our budget the way we needed it to be, we started to look at what's called our corridor model, which divides our city in terms of the school district into 3 segments: East, Central, and West. And that way, we believe that if children are remaining in their corridor, that will help us tremendously for a lot of different reasons. We strengthen our neighborhoods. So for example, the schools at Aiken, Pleasant Hill Academy, and College Hill would work together as a conglomerate of schools. This also, in the long run, over a period of a few years, will lessen the students also who are going to the transit centers, which we just talked about, because there is more of a focus on strengthening our neighborhoods. That was just one example. The other thing, continuing to grow and build out middle schools and junior highs to look at the needs of our children. What do they need for their development, for their mental health, for their emotional health, and for their academic well-being? And research study shows our families have said to us, our teachers have said to us, hey, we need to revisit middle schools and junior highs. This plan allows us to do that across the district, evenly spread. In addition to that, we look at programming. Earlier, we talked about workforce, career, and technical education. A lot of times you will hear community talk about the need for vocational programming to return to our school district. The only thing is, our state calls it career and technical education. So what we want to do is expand those offerings, and in particular, we're looking at a few different areas. Earlier today, we heard the mention of entrepreneurship. We have children who are wanting to know and learn more about how can I learn, grow, conduct, have my own business. We plan to put that in place over the next 2 years. In addition to that, automotive. So at one time in our district, we did have automotive classes, automotive education. We plan to bring that back. In addition, one more area is cosmetology. Our young people are demanding cosmetology in our school district. We are designing a center for career and technical education where children across our district will be able to come to that site to be able to be prepared either for college, for career, or for military. Military, let me tell you about that with this plan. We started a program 2 years ago at Aiken High School, Junior ROTC, with an Army focus. We started with 1 teacher, it's grown to 2 teachers in a 2-year period of time because of the demand for that from not only our students, but also our families. We are going to expand our military offerings to look at either a Coast Guard offering, a Navy, or an Air Force offering at one of our schools. That is a part of this plan. In addition to that, our college access. The corridor model will allow us, if there is a program on the east side of town, we want to also be able to offer it to young people on the west side of town so they don't have to travel across our district, have long bus rides in the morning and in after school, and that also should prevent so many young people from having to go to transit centers. Not a driver, but do want to share that. So we have early college programming, for example, at Schroeder High School. We also want to have an early college offering on the west side of town. So we're looking at efficiencies for our district, not only in terms of operations, but in terms of academics and being able to provide our students with a world-class education no matter where they live in our school district.
Wow, that's exciting. A lot going on there. I love it. That's fantastic.
So just to get back to our engagement plan, we have had 7 parent meetings to date, and we've met with 2 different community councils. And we've met with 20 different LSDMCs, which are the school leadership decision-making committees. So our goal is to ensure that we have engagement with all of the stakeholders with each of the school communities. So with our upcoming engagement, Superintendent Murphy has growth office hours that she engages the community, and those will be held on, through November. And we also have 4 follow-up LSDMC meetings, 4 community council meetings, and 3 community town halls that will be scheduled.
And could I just ask quickly, because there are dates and hours and places, is this on the CPS website? Okay. Mr.
Yeah,
Burkhart, okay.
the engagement calendar will be, yes.
Okay, that's perfect, okay.
In the best interest of time, we have spent a significant amount of time talking about this, so it's all recorded. We've got, since, gosh, a month of, if you go back just to a month of sessions, board meetings on YouTube, Zoom, and our Facebook page. You can go back to the links and watch more in-depth reasoning behind what Superintendent Murphy and her team are talking about, so it's
great.
there.
Yeah, so the corridor model is what we're moving toward. Are there other cities using that model? I just wonder.
I am not aware of other cities. This is about Cincinnati Public School children in this city. We're creating this, we're developing this. We are looking at best practices for kids in terms of their mental health, their emotional health, but we're also paying attention to what is happening and the decisions the council is making, quite frankly, as well. And we're willing to talk with anyone about this topic. There's some misinformation out there. We're happy to clarify. We're excited to clarify.
I love that. And I love the fact that Cincinnati is first with this model. So that's very, I know President Bolton's like, yeah, that is great. We should also mention a timeline, because for people who are saying, oh no, when is all this going to happen? It's not till next school year, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the first phase, it did happen in a very short period of time, but phase 2, the plan is August 2025.
Okay, so people have lots of time to make, to give input, which is wonderful. Not rushing anybody, and the calendar of events or the list of dates and all that are on the CPS website. We'll, of course, through this meeting, we'll link them onto our site. I think we have to wait till our next meeting to vote them in, but we'll ask the Clerk of Council's office how we do that. Okay.
And Vice Mayor, if I may, my
please.
bosses are reminding me, that is if this is approved. This is a proposal. It's not a go.
Okay, good. Good to know that this is proposed, and so the input is really key.
These are discussions, not decisions. These are discussions.
Right, no decision yet. It's being discussed. Mr. Burkhart, I see your light is on. Are you jumping in? Okay. Who's next? Anybody? Mr. Gallo? Okay, all right. So Ms. Mapp.
Yes, this is to you all. So I know that we've been talking about just our neighborhoods, and I was interested in knowing if you all could share any information about demographic trends or developmental trends that we're seeing as we're talking about possibly reframing or restructuring our schools.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yes, so as you know, our city is growing, and so that means more students for CPS, so we're very excited about that. The actual demographics are really on our website. We'll have to pull them up, but if you go to cincinnati-oh.gov and just put in city demographics, it'll come up about the racial makeup, the income levels, the change from the previous several years, actually, how many people are actually homeowners, all of that. So, and we can get that for you too.
Thank you
So
for
I
that.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments?
Just, Madam Chair.
Okay,
just very-
Councilmember
Just very
Johnson.
briefly, I am so glad to hear about the number of alternative issues and programs that CPS is offering. As the superintendent alluded to, there's so many people that don't understand all of the amazing things that are happening with CPS. You do hear all the time, everybody doesn't go to college. You are absolutely correct, everybody doesn't. But when you talk about entrepreneurship, and you talk about all of these amazing programs that are offered through CPS, people have to be willing to get that information. People have to be willing to engage and get out of comfort zones and go get all of these amazing opportunities that are there. I'm a proud product of Cincinnati Public Schools, but I say all the time, the jobs that you heard about this evening, all of these opportunities, people have to be willing to come grasp them and take advantage of them. Jobs and opportunities don't knock on your door. You got to go get them. So thank you to CPS for the amazing work that you continuously do.
And I just want to put, we constantly tell the Cincinnati community that there's so many opportunities for adults to come and volunteer in the schools. I'm having a great time at Rockdale, my alma mater, with the book club. And so those young ladies, it's the girls' book club, and they are so phenomenal and really inspirational, and we are just having so much fun, even though it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and they come in and they're excited. I'm like, it's great. So there are lots of opportunities, and we want to make sure that adults, you don't have to have any special training to go and listen to a child read or, sit there while they're doing their math or, whatever. It's just being there and being there for them is really important. Dr. Moffett.
So I just want us to close by saying CPS has always been innovative and the first of many in many situations. Our community learning centers, we can go on and on and on. But our students are changing. We have to reimagine education, and that's in part what the phase 2 is to do. It is to meet the needs of the ever-changing student. The student that we had 5 years ago prior to the pandemic is not the same. And so their needs are different. Their expectations are different, our parents are different, and so we are trying to listen to those needs that we hear every day. We had a parent talk about the needs of the kids and how she's addressing that. We're trying to do that and be innovative and creative as we always are. And so that's what this is about. These are discussions, not decisions. With some of the pending legislation that we have as well, we're trying to be fiscally responsible. And this team has done a really good job. So please go back and watch the videos because there's more in-depth conversation. We are definitely rushing it because CPS is ready to go, and I'm sure the city is too. But if you do have any questions, if you do have any comments, we are listening. So meet the superintendent at some of those engagement sessions. You can always email the board members. Ms. Phyllis is right there. She takes it and she sends it to every single one of us. So we're listening. But we do have a timeline that has to be followed. So we've got some contractual obligations that we have to follow as well. So we're trying.
Okay. All right, now, I know Mr. Burkhart was going to make some comments about crossing guards. There's a quick presentation on that.
Like 3 minutes or less, Mr. Burkhart. 3 minutes or less.
Dr. Moffett runs a tight ship. And for those watching from home, this is the last item on the agenda. So don't go away, we're almost finished.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. So
Here you go.
Where do I go to present? Slideshow. There we go. It's working. Perfect. Vice Mayor, Council, Board, just spend a few minutes. I know that the hour is late, but just a few minutes on updates on crossing guards. To start off, crossing guards has always been a shared responsibility between CPS and the city. Over the past 3 decades, early pedestrian traffic was under the purview of the city, while school transportation was under CPS. We know that that has morphed over the past couple of decades, and right now I would love to say that our engagement with the Department of Transportation Engineering and CPS on a bi-weekly basis is having very, very productive meetings in relation to student safety and getting kids to school both on time and safely. As we go back of the historical context, back in 1999, the city provided through the tax abatement agreement provided service to CPS in the way of crossing guards, service without reimbursement. That then changed in 2008 when the crossing guard agreement was put in place between the city manager and CPS, whereby CPS was paying all the relevant expenses for crossing guards, but the hiring and maintenance and training of crossing guards was still handled by the city. As we moved to 2020, another agreement was conceived between CPS and the city. That agreement said that CPS would pay for all relevant expenses for crossing guards, although the city would still take the contextual management of crossing guards. But we added a 7.5% admin fee to that for the city to hire someone or to hire a management team to make sure that that burden was realized and that that wasn't a sole burden just on the city alone. So as we move to 2024, on May 16th, we received a letter from the police chief asking us to, saying that it was their preference not to renew the current practice of crossing guards. We had a conversation and we agreed to a 6-month extension that expires on January 31st. Basically, effective February 1st, CPS would be taking over crossing guards. Right now, we are in the process of looking at and evaluating all the crossing guards across the district, and making sure that all of the spaces that we should have in crossing guards are appropriate. We do know that there's 163 current places where crossing guards should be. Right now, 99 of those are filled, so we have about a 60% fill rate. Also, right now, as we are moving forward, we are looking at moving over those crossing guards that are currently employed by the city over to be onboarded with CPS. We're currently 66% complete with that process. Again, that process started on November 1st. So in the past 14 days, we've gotten 66% of those onboarded onto CPS. As we move forward, our current priorities for the 24-25 school year is really a status quo. It's moving those employees over to CPS, no change in their hours, their pay, or any other differentials. It's a matter of standing up the program. Our really big goal is to make sure that we are staffing each one of those spots effectively with an effective trained crossing guard with the appropriate materials to make sure that students are getting to school safely. And then finally, our other priorities for the 25-26 school year and beyond is making sure, again, that we match a CPS employee with the correct assignment, but also looking at how can we cross-reference or cross-promote all of our part-time jobs within CPS to make sure that we're maximizing those part-time employees, and if they want, having multiple part-time jobs. So as we move forward, that is one of the big pushes we're going to make within CPS. So I've tried to be brief. Happy to answer any questions as we move forward.
Thank you. That was great, Mr. Burkhart. So just to clarify, in the past, and well, still now up until January 31st, so Cincinnati hired the crossing guards and trained them, and then CPS reimbursed us. So now instead of going through that, you're hiring directly. Is our Cincinnati Police Department still involved? Will they still be involved with the training?
So we are in discussion with that. We understand that the police would not be involved with the training. We're having open dialogue to get that resource to CPS because we think it's really important that those folks who really have that knowledge help us as subject matter experts.
Okay, because I'm just in the informal discussions that I've had with our police leadership, they seem very open and willing to continuing the training. So I'll just throw that out there. I think that would be great to continue with that.
We appreciate that very much.
Okay.
Madam Chair, yeah. Let me just echo, I agree 100%. We will do our part to try to make sure that collaborative effort between CPS and CPD continues. That it is necessary to make sure that we are, as a city, assisting you to the utmost so children are safe at every crosswalk, going to every school in this city. So we will work our end to make sure that happens.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Moffitt?
I absolutely love the fact that that was said, because we need some money to do that. So we can definitely talk about the training costs us. And so, Mr. Burkhart, can you share, like, seriously, 2 minutes or less, like, what is that costing? Can you outline where we need the assistance with regard to, like, equipment, training? We need the city's help with that.
And is that something that CPD provided before? You're talking about that?
Yeah, that was something that CPD provided previously. As of February 1st, it's our understanding that that will be solely on CPS, and that is, for example, the signs that crossing guards use, the vests, the jackets in inclement weather and snow and ice, because they're really out there on the front lines in the mornings and in the afternoons in all weather, making sure those students are getting there safely. And although that may sound easy, there's a lot of intricacies to that we would love the police to help us to get over that hump with.
Okay, no other comments on that? All right. Oh, President Bolton.
If nothing else is accomplished tonight, but the assurance from city officials that we will have the help from the CPD for the training of these folks that take their lives in hand to stand there at the crossing guard area where they stand and take care of our kids, we do need the professionals to help us do the training for many, many reasons. So I feel so much better that that is in the offing, and we all do have to recommit where we do not yet have crossing guards. This is a real problem that we all must share that responsibility because of this quick transition that has occurred. So thank you so much on behalf of the board and the district on your assurance.
Well, and let me just clarify so that I don't misspeak, because I don't have the authority to say what our chief will do and what the plans are that's the city manager's office. But my understanding from informal conversations is that CPD is definitely open to those conversations. So let me just say that. That's what I've heard, and so that's my hope. But I can't make a commitment. So I just want to make sure no one goes, oh, the vice mayor said you're gonna, like, right, okay, so just, yeah, we have to be totally transparent and honest about it, but I think that we understand the training is very important. And, our CPD is definitely the best trained organization, so that would be great. I'm sorry, Councilmember Johnson? Oh, okay. All right, and this could be a longer conversation, so unfortunately, we're at the end of our meeting, but any other comments? Let me just say I really appreciate CPS board, the superintendent, and others. And I forgot to point, Director Markia Carter is the director of our Department of Community Economic Development. Thank you so much. I know you came in after we made introductions, and I should have stopped to introduce you because you do so much great work, so thank you. But I wanted to also thank all of our CPS partners for being here today, and just, all of you for meeting with us. I think it's great that we can collaborate, and the idea is not to overstep and to tell each other what to do, but to see how we can do some problem solving together. And we always end the meetings with, wow, there's so much more to do, so much more to talk about. But we will continue the conversation, and we'll update the public at our next meeting.
So we have some CPS business that we have to do that was going to take probably 2 minutes or less. I'm going to turn it over to Board Member Craig.
Yeah, hopefully we can do this in less than a minute. We just need to designate me as the treasurer pro tem, so is there a motion to do so? All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, myself, I say yes. Mr. Crossett?
I gotta use your microphone.
Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Mapp?
Yes.
Dr. Moffitt?
Yes.
Vice President Weinberg?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Just a quick attendance. Me, I'm here. Mr. Crossett?
Here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to both teams and for the public for staying with us late. We so appreciate it. Our next meeting will be 2025.
Right, in just a few months. Thank you, everybody. With that.